Hey y'all, hope y'all are doing good, and I really appreciate you guys tuning in. This is the 2024 LSU Tiger preview. I'm going to do all the SEC teams, but the first team that I'm going to talk about is the LSU Tigers. And guys, if you've not subscribed, please do. I'm going to be bringing you football content all season long, and I'm going to be breaking out all the SEC teams. And the first team that I'm going to start with is the LSU Tigers. Um, so LSU, very talented offensive team in 2023. They had the Heisman Trophy winner in Jaden Daniels. They had arguably the best receiver in the country in Malik Neighbors. Also had another receiver in Brian Thomas. Both those receivers, Neighbors and Thomas, went over 1,000 yards receiving. That's going to be hard to replace. But LSU brings back some very key players in Will Campbell and Emory Jones. And defensively, they bring back Harold Perkins. This will be his third year at LSU. He's as good defensively as it gets. He's going to lead that defense. And you know, as far as the QB is concerned, they got Garrett Nussmeier. This guy's in his third year at LSU, knows the system very well. He's a very solid quarterback. He's not Jaden Daniels, but he can lead you to a lot of big wins. I expect a big year out of him. When I've seen him play, he's had some big time moments to come in and play. He played against Missouri last year at Missouri. He helped them win when Daniels got injured. He played in the SEC championship game, and frankly, a couple years ago, he outplayed Jaden Daniels in the SEC championship game. So this guy is a very confident, very good QB, and he's going to have those two tackles that I just talked about, Will Campbell and Emory Jones, protecting him. I think he's going to have a lot of time to throw, and they went into the portal and they picked up also C.J. Daniels and Xavier Thomas. Daniels is a guy at Liberty that had over 1,000 yards receiving. Thomas was at Mississippi State. He had over 500 yards receiving. So they went out and they filled those holes in those receivers that went to the NFL. So I expect a really big year out of Garrett Nussmeier. I really think he's going to have a huge year. I think these receivers are going to have a big year, and I think this LSU offense is going to put up a lot of points. I really do. I think people are sleeping on LSU, and they're going to find out that LSU is going to be one of the teams at the very top at the end of the year in the SEC. Um, and as far as defensively, LSU went out. They cleaned house defensively because that defense was awful last year. They brought in Blake Baker from Missouri. Missouri's had a really solid defense the last couple of years. The jury's still out on Blake Baker. I don't know how he'll do, but he could not do any worse than what they had last year at LSU. That defense was awful. Could not stop a cold. I mean, they were just terrible. So let's break this season down game by game, and let's see how we think LSU is going to finish this season. So obviously, LSU opens the season against USC in Las Vegas. USC is a decent team. They better not take them lightly. USC is capable of winning this game, but LSU is much, much more talented. And LSU is not going to lose the opening game of the year 3 years in a row. I don't see Brian Kelly allowing that. So I have LSU winning week one against USC. You're 1-0. Then you play Nichols, come back home, play Nichols. You win that game, you're 2-0. Then you go in game three at South Carolina and William Bryce. Now, this, as a Tennessee fan, I'll be the first to tell you, we've had a lot of teams at Tennessee that were better than South Carolina. And when we went to Williams Bryce and played South Carolina, we lost. And that is a place that's very, very hard to win, especially at night. So LSU better bring their A game, or they could lose that game. But at the same time, South Carolina, in my opinion, just does not have the horses to win this game. Spencer Rattler's gone. They did bring in Rocket Sanders from Arkansas as their running back. I think he'll be a really solid running back for them, but overall, LSU's just much better. And I see you guys being 3-0 at that point. Then UCLA comes back, or you come back home and play UCLA at home. Those Hollywood boys are not going to beat LSU in Tiger Stadium. UCLA is going to struggle this year too. They lost their head coach. They lost their defensive coordinator. It's going to be, in my opinion, a rebuilding year type for UCLA, and LSU will beat UCLA bad. And so now you are 4-0. And now you go into game 5 against South Alabama. South Alabama is not going to give LSU any kind of game. They will easily win that game. So now I have you guys at 5-0 after the win over South Alabama, and now you have a very needed open date, and to get healthy and to get some rest. And it's perfect timing because in Game 6 you're going to be at home against Ole Miss, and I guarantee you everybody's picking Ole Miss to win this game against LSU, but me. I have LSU beating Ole Miss, and I'm going to tell you why I think LSU beats Ole Miss. There's the revenge factor. Ole Miss beat LSU last year at Ole Miss. LSU has an open date to get ready, get rested, okay? And I mean, they're at home. They're going to be in Tiger Stadium. It's going to be a night game, and there's no tougher environment to play in the country than Tiger Stadium. And I think LSU gets the job done, beats Ole Miss. And I don't care that Ole Miss I don't care that Lane Kiffin did have the #1 portal class in the country. They signed some really big names, some really good players. I still think LSU wins that game, and they're sitting at 6-0. So LSU's 6-0, and now they're going to go to Arkansas for Game 7. This is what I'm saying. This schedule is really looking good. The way this schedule works out, everything, in my opinion, lines up perfectly for them. Arkansas is not even going to be close to talented enough to beating LSU. Arkansas, they lost KJ Jefferson, they lost Rocket Sanders. Sam Pittman's in his last year, no doubt. He's going to be fired at the end of this year, and I think LSU rolls at Arkansas. And now you're 7-0. 7-0. And now I do see trouble coming because you're going to go to Texas A&M, got to go to College Station, and I think A&M gets you there. I think that's just, I think you're probably better than A&M, honestly, but I just think they get you in College Station, and they get a big, big win against you guys. But listen, it's not a catastrophe. I think you guys bounce back. You got an open date to get to heal your wounds, to get rested, and then you're going to host Alabama in Game 9 at home in Tiger Stadium, and I think you get the job done. Alabama is a really good team, solid team, but I think the revenge factor of losing there last year in Tuscaloosa, you did beat Alabama 2 years ago at LSU, and I think you get the job done. I think you beat Alabama, and now you're 8-1, and now you're going to have to go to Florida, going to have to go to Ben Hill Griffin Stadium, and what I'm saying, this schedule works out perfect for LSU. It works out perfectly. If they had to play Florida in the first 3 or 4 weeks, I don't know if I would pick LSU to beat Florida, because I'm going to tell you, Florida's not a bad team. They really aren't. The problem with Florida is they have just a horrible, horrible schedule. They have to play Georgia and Texas and Ole Miss in like back weeks, and on top of that, they've got to play Miami, UCF, Florida State, all 3 in-state teams, and then they play Tennessee. They have a really, really tough schedule, and so, but I think the reason that I have LSU going to Florida and winning that game is I think at this point, I think Billy Napier's on his last legs. I think the momentum. I think at the end of the year, I think they're going to have some losses. I think they're going to be calling for his head, and I think LSU kind of finishes off Billy Napier here. I think this is kind of Billy Napier's swan song. I think he's terminated about right after this game, or right before it. So I just think Florida is there's just too many big games, and they're not going to be able to overcome it. And I think LSU is going to go into Florida and win that game. So now you are 9-1, and now you got Vanderbilt coming, and I mean Vanderbilt's they're definitely not going to beat LSU at Tiger Stadium. It doesn't matter where you play this game. LSU would beat Vandy anywhere. So now you are 10-1. Now when I first did this video, I did not see me picking LSU to be 10-1 at this point. When I looked at the schedule, when I looked at the matchups, this is what I got. And now I've got you playing Oklahoma in Week 12. Oklahoma, I think, is a bit overrated. Oklahoma fans, don't get mad. I think you got a good team. I just think that defensively, you got a lot to fix. You got a brand new starting quarterback coming in. And I think that you playing at LSU in this game, it's going to be really hard to overcome. And so I have you guys beating Oklahoma at home. You're going to be 11-1. I think more than likely you're going to be playing in the SEC championship game. Now I don't think you're going to beat Georgia when you get there, but I think you get there honestly. I think you're the second best team because of this schedule, and I think that you guys will be playing in Atlanta. So anyway, I got the LSU Tigers at 11-1. I think they're going to be at the end of the year the second best SEC team in 2024. Guys, I appreciate you tuning in. I appreciate you listening to this video, and I will talk to you guys later.